How's it going?
Hello guys, what's up?
Hello lads.
That intro gets me so excited every single time, I won't lie.
I know it's the best, right? I've been meaning to do it for weeks now. I need to just soften that the ending of the music, like it comes to this abrupt halt.
Nice, it's lekker.
When I first made the video, I was so fucking stoked, and then when I played it live the first time, I was like, "Oh, that's quite hectic." Like you're kind of expecting Bruce Buffer to, go, "It's time."
We still need to have contract negotiations with Keaton
we were thinking of getting Keaton as well to do a song for us.
I mean, little Grimehouse cover, that'd be very nice.
Yeah. The only problem is he's all over KFC, KFM and all the radio stations and shit now, so he'll probably charge us an arm and a leg.
Hey, Keaton, if you're listening, sort the boys out.
He's all over KFC as well. He loves a takeaway.
Yeah.
Follow him on Instagram. He loves a takeaway.
Keegan, your sound is a little bit grainy there on my side.
Is it stuffed? Yeah. Let's see what I can do. Sorry, lads. I don't have the. Is it better now, by any chance?
It sounds a little better. Let's see how it goes.
I don't have the mic been packed in already. So the whole setup up already.
Yeah, so that, for those of you that don't know, Keegs is he's basically in quarantine now, or isolation now for 2 weeks, and then he's heading off to Holland to go live there. So that's why Keegs doesn't have his whole setup tonight. Stacky boy, how's it going your side, dude? It's been when last did we have you on? Before the Connor?
It was just before Connor and Poirier, and I can finally have another little shout that Jan won. Jan fucking won.
I'll tell you one thing about that. I was quite happy after that fight that we couldn't have. I can't remember why we couldn't have the podcast, but I was okay with that.
Ah man, I've always, you guys know me. I love in some ways the underdog, but in my eyes, I didn't see Jan as an underdog in that fight. And just what a fight! What a fight! He waited for Izzy. He didn't fucking take any chances, and he took him down like an absolute champion. There was an enjoyable fight to watch.
Yeah, it was a great fight, I must say. I think I'm sure you were one of the few people who called Jan to win. I'm sure I saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah,
I definitely thought Izzy would take it on points. Which I think he almost did if it wasn't for the last 2 rounds going to ground where he struggled.
3 and 5, those 2 takedown rounds, he was absolutely nowhere there. Those were definite wins on his part, and I feel he was exposed. He was overly exposed with Jan on top of him, and he had no answer, and that's I think might be a problem for him moving forward with other fighters.
Good evening, Jade.
I think Wally and I had this discussion actually the Saturday evening at his place. I stayed over at Wallace's place on Saturday. Myself and Bucky's Hoodaboo on Twitter and that, we were all there for the fight to wake up and watch it. And I was chatting to Wally about it. I was like, you know what, as much as I want Izzy to win, Jan's a big bloke, and we haven't seen him take people down. And I mentioned it to Ryan. I was like, we don't know how good Izzy is on the ground, really, especially a big frame. I'm not saying he's not good on the ground. We're saying a big frame on the ground, like someone big putting him to the ground. Mm. And I think that's where we saw the difference. And I know Ryan believes in something else in this, but like John Jones is even bigger than Jan right now.
The proper fat boy.
And John Jones gets on top of Izzy on the ground. I can only see that fight going one way because John can fight on the ground.
Yeah. That was also something I didn't see from Izzy. He didn't throw one shot from the ground. Didn't even try to even throw an elbow. He just seemed limp.
He tried to
You know
wriggle
what
out, but I think he realized that because Jan was such a big, unit on top of him, if he kept trying to wriggle, he's going to get tired. And I think that was the thing, that he almost didn't have plan B. Or plan B was to wriggle out. And when he realized that he had this big unit on top of him, he's like, right, so if I keep wriggling, I use energy, I get tired, and then I'm probably going to get finished earlier. So
Yeah.
a little flaw in that, I say a little chink in his armor where he's going to have to really get better than that, because if he's going to fight bigger guys, and especially bigger units, they now know what they're going to try and
There's
do.
trouble.
They just
Yeah.
down.
But also, I get what he was doing in the third round by doing what Keegan's saying now, where you're going, okay, I'm probably 3-0 up.
2-1.
Yeah, I'm saying in his mind, he doesn't. While the round's going,
yeah.
right? So he's going. I'm probably 3-0 up. I'll see this round out. I'll concede this round. Just don't get choked out. As soon as he's from the bottom trying to attack, he opens himself up to, he exposes himself to possible submissions and that.
Yeah.
But then in the fifth round, in my opinion, he was busy winning the round. And as soon as he goes down, that's where you got to take that risk and say, look, I need to get out of here, because if it stays this way and I stay on my back, I'm losing
100%.
the round, and I'm possibly very likely losing the fight. And that was a little bit disappointing for me, that in the fifth round, he was almost just willing to see it out. Like you said, Craig, just try and get some punches, throw in an elbow there, fucking work the ribs a little bit, do something.
Yeah, I do think that his half guard and side control was just it was with his weight was too overpowering as well. Even when he was wriggling, Jan was wriggling with him, moving with him every single time, just controlled it. And I found that really enjoyable, because he was so patient with him on the floor, and he didn't let him do anything. It was just he smothered him completely. So
He's a big
interesting.
frame, eh? Like if you look at him, like
He's a big fucking guy.
He's a big boy. Yeah, the Polish hammer.
to be fair, guys, like if you look at it, Izzy's not a small guy. Like you look at Izzy and go, geez, Jan is so much bigger than him. And then you see them in the ring, you'll be like, he's actually not that much bigger than him. And he's definitely
just wide.
He's
definitely
broader,
wide.
He's got the height. So easy in the weigh-ins to me, because obviously the weigh-ins, when they face off, you get that side view. And
Yes.
then you look at Izzy, you're going, fuck, Izzy is big. But then as soon as you see the width of Jan, then you're like, oh, okay, it's a different monster.
Oof.
I don't think it does anything to Izzy at the end of the day. You know what? We're not every UFC fighter is a GOAT. So not every UFC fighter, like some of the greatest that we've seen in the octagon, have got losses. So
Yes, of course.
I don't think
In my opinion,
Khabib is the freak. Khabib is a freak to go that long without a loss. So
yeah.
I don't think it does anything to his reputation. George St. Pierre's had losses. Jones has had losses. So you look at it all, and it doesn't do much to his reputation. But I do think it does make him question going up 3, and another 2 weight classes. I do think that puts a lot of thing in his mind now.
And the John Jones fight, does that happen this year still?
No, you got to backseat that.
So,
Agreed.
well, one thing I will agree with is, or will say is, I agree with Keegan saying he could still become the GOAT, in my opinion, even with a loss.
Yeah.
He is that good. He was, in my opinion, he still did very well in this fight. Gillian is saying here that Jan didn't even break a sweat, which is correct. But in my opinion, neither did Izzy really. He took the punches that came his way. He just got fucked up on the floor, and
He wasn't as active as usual. Very true.
Yeah, which is expected that he's going to struggle on the floor. The one thing that did let me down though is how easy it was for Jan to get him onto the floor.
Jesus,
I would have thought
yeah.
that if you're gonna go up against a guy like that and you don't want to wrestle him, at least make sure it's difficult for him to get you down. And I just thought he went down quite easily, which was a bit disappointing because I think if it wasn't for those 2 rounds where he went to the ground, I think Izzy wins it.
I watched something very, very interesting about that. I just can't remember who it was, but I was watching 2 podcasts, like UFC podcasts about it, and I think that's where we've got to give Jan a lot of credit, because he shoots both times, and they are so perfectly timed.
Yes.
I think the one that says it doesn't matter how good your defense is, if you shoot and your timing is perfect, as good as Jan's timing was, you go down.
That's what Khabib has shown us.
And I think that's where
it as well.
We've got to give Jan a lot of credit there. I think that if that was any other UFC fighter, or in any other circumstance, the timing of that shoot is probably not as good, in that situation. I think that's where he really pinpointed it, and he did super well. But I agree, neither fighter really had much damage. 3 months down the line, both of those fighters can go and fight with absolute ease.
100%, yeah.
I just want to touch
on what Jade is saying, is basically saying that the UFC is one of those sports where you can't have an off night and still win. And I think that's 100% correct. I think almost all your individual sports, and I've always said that's what makes individual sports so difficult.
Yes.
You can't have an off night, whereas in a team sport, if I don't
protect it
score
a little bit.
Yeah, if I don't score goals today, there's 10 other people that can still score goals. Whereas, and also with UFC, it's an added thing where if you have an off night, you could also get seriously fucking hurt as well.
It's also interesting to think now as well. I mean, we don't know what it's like. I mean, I've done a little charity boxing fight here, two boxing fights in my time, and one where there was a crowd, one there wasn't a crowd. And it makes a big difference. I mean, for me, it was fun and all fun and games. But when you're a top level athlete and you thrive on a crowd and you thrive on that sort of interaction and that sort of mentality around having your fans watching you, it's a big difference when there's no one in the crowd. So we can't really. I can't really say how it can affect a fighter or have an off night and whatnot. But he did. For me, he didn't look like he was on form that night. Didn't look like it was the same as he.
I'm glad you brought that up, because if you watched the recent Max Holloway interview with Rogan, there's a part in it where Max talks about when the UFC was going to go to Abu Dhabi, or when they've had that one in Florida. The Florida one was the first one where there was no crowd.
Yes.
And I was on that one, and he said he had his hand up, the first one to have his hand up, because he was like, this is where you're going to see the real fighters. The real dogs don't need crowds. The real dogs don't need someone screaming at them and hyping them up. And
the real guys are there just for the fight.
They want to fight.
Says,
yeah.
Real fighters just want to punch each other in the face. And he says this is the one thing that the UFC in these circumstances have shown us as fans, that there are some real. Since there's been no crowd, there's been some real dogs.
Jesus, it's some incredible fights.
You look at guys that are.
I think
you would never know win streaks, and they're on huge win streaks at the moment.
Yeah.
I think we've said this before, that in my opinion, since lockdown, especially those first 4 or 5 cards, the fights were
incredible.
To fall over.
No, they were incredible. Those first few cards, I think, from pure excitement from fans as well, but they were just so epic to see. And the guys through the kitchen sink at that shit.
Jillian Reckers Connor needs a crowd. I think he just needs to protect his legs next time.
Where to next for him? I mean, we'll wait for Keeks, but I don't even know what's going to happen with that guy next.
Well, that was actually going to be my point right in the beginning when I said that we haven't had a chat since then. I think at the moment I saw there was an interview with John Kavanagh, Connor's coach, and I didn't watch it. I just saw some quote of it, and he's fully speaking like they're preparing for the rematch.
The trilogy.
Yeah, and what I was going to run past you guys is obviously from a business perspective, you have to run that back. That's going to make you the money. But the other problem is Poirier's
all good, bro. We're just catching up quickly on a little where to next for Connor.
Yeah. So in my opinion, like I said, is the next fight or Connor, the next obvious fight to make from a business perspective is the rematch. But in the same breath, Poirier's next fight has to be for the title.
Yeah.
But Connor, and I love him dearly, as you guys know, he's lost 2 lightweight fights in a row, so you can't put him in a title fight. So now you're going, where do you go with that?
I've got something on this. Business-wise, you have to go Connor Nate-wise, or Connor someone else.
No way.
I've said Connor Nate. Connor Nate, give it to us. Give it to us. You have to do that.
Because if he loses to Dustin Poirier again, the cash cow is done in the UFC. No one will want.
The problem is he could lose to someone else as well. The immediate money sits with Poirier.
I don't believe so. I believe that the UFC loses a lot more if he goes to fight Poirier again. He gets knocked out or gets choked out or whatever.
Yeah, he's done. Absolutely.
He's done. You cannot put him in anything close to the title fight. Not even.
But Nate has just a good a chance of beating him. He's also done
he
it.
Does.
He does. I think, but Connor's more recent. He's fought more recently than Nate. So you would expect him to.
It's also a big money fight. It's also a very big money fight. A lot of ways on that. The trilogy, they both got that win. Obviously, Nate got the second one as well, but we can't say that. But at the same time, like, you put those two together, you'll have crowds, you'll have biggest pay-per-view. Put Dustin on that against Charles or Michael Chandler, or the winner of Chandler and Charles Oliveira, and give Dustin and them the same headline card. Put Max on there. Let the guys throw it down. But he doesn't deserve that title shot in my eyes, and that's just me. That's just after what I've seen.
No, he definitely doesn't. That's what I'm saying. The UFC is in a difficult spot. But of what I've seen and read and heard people saying that know a lot more than we do, it sounds like that rematch is, because that's what Poirier wants as well. Because Poirier,
he knows he'll get cash. He'll cash in.
Poirier wants to cash in because he knows, even maybe if it's not for a title, he knows he's got the opportunity still to be next in line. You know, if maybe they make another title fight.
And I'm sure he can put a much bigger purse on his name for this next fight. He can say, "Cool, I want $5 million" before he even steps into the cage, and they'll 100%. Make it. They'll make it happen.
He can name his price now.
The only winner that wins out of this whole thing, or there's 2 fighters that win out of this whole thing, is Oliveira and Chandler. They stay out of the dogfight. Let Connor and Poirier try and knock each other out. They're still guaranteed in a title race at this point in time.
Yeah.
Chandler sits back and goes, "I know I'm top 2 in this division. Like, I know I'm one of the best in this division. I don't have to risk myself at this point in time."
But see, that's another thing. Does Chandler? I mean, obviously he did well in his debut against Dan Hooker, who's not a walkover, but.
No.
Is he next in line for a title shot? I don't think so.
I also don't think so, but he's also on a bit of a hype at the moment. So again, from a business perspective, let's see what we can do with him. Let's see if we can build him into a position that he's worthy of, hyping him even further. So I also agree with you. I don't think he's the next in line. I still think it's Oliveira for me, but I'd put him and Chandler together first, and then Islam and Tony on the back end, just on that same card.
Yeah, that would be an amazing brawl.
We're really missing one guy, though. Is maybe Chandler needs to go. Chandler and Gaethje need to go.
Here we go.
So that's what I'm thinking. Chandler needs one more fight. Chandler needs
I agree
one
with
more
that.
fight at least before he gets a
And
title.
Gaethje deserves. Gaethje can't just go from a title fight knocked down to fighting 6, 7, and 8. I mean, the man deserves to still fight one of the top 3 guys.
Yeah.
You see, I completely forgot about him there for a second. This is how stacked this division is right now. I literally just forgot about Gaethje completely. So that's a fight to make in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I say a four-way. You've got Gaethje, Chandler, I would say, Oliveira, Dustin. Whoever wins out of that bracket and that would go to a title fight. That would be me. I would make it that.
Yes. Okay. I like that. And then again, we've still got Tony and Islam as well. We can't forget Tony. I mean, he is getting old. Jan was 38 though. Look at Tony. Give him Islam.
Tony into the mix. Tony gets 1 or 2 more big wins, which, he is getting older and he hasn't been at his best, but you never fucking know with that guy.
Bro, he's a live wire.
1 or 2 wins for him, and he's also back in the mix. It's insane.
And the greatest thing is Islam. He literally called him out and said, "You've been annoying Khabib. You've been annoying Khabib for how long? I'm here to destroy you now. I'm taking over the throne." But if he gets beaten, if Islam gets beaten by Tony, for instance, and let's say this happens, he has every single right to then say to Khabib, "Come, I've beaten your boy. You sent your boy to me. I've beaten him. Let's go. Let's do this now.
100%.
Finally, no more chickening out. Let's do this."
Why would you want to
That's
do
what
that?
we want. What we want.
It's going to be...
He'll kill Tony.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, is it the spectacle we want it to be?
No, it won't be. 5 years ago, yes. But not
Yeah,
now.
it'll be a little bit like Mayweather Pacquiao, but I still got up at 4 a.m. to watch that fight.
Oh man,
It's still going to be
absolutely.
fun. Jillian says, Justin. So that would be an amazing fight. I would love to see that fight.
I'm all for Justin Gaethje and fucking and Connor. Sign me up. I'm in.
I'm a fan. Oh, I'd love to see that as well.
100%.
Sign me up.
I see Gaethje knocking him out as well.
So do I.
Well, not knocking him down. Wasn't quite out.
I'm with you, Keeks. Straight knockout.
So, wait, let's see what Jade says here. Can we get someone to move that YouTube? Yes.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Yeah, Connor.
So,
Connor's
but no, he's fighting
Ben Askren.
Ben Askren. The only problem is Ben Askren can't fucking box.
Ben Askren has thrown less punches in his whole career than Nate's done in one fight.
Well, that's
He's
the
going to
problem.
get beaten. He's going to get beaten by fucking
He's going to
Logan
get
Paul.
beaten. But the problem, there's a bigger problem to that. The problem is then that fucking, what's his name? Jake Paul or whatever. He's
Sorry.
That's the other one.
Eh?
Other
Oh,
one's
it's the
funny.
other. Whatever.
Logan.
They're both idiots. Now his back's gonna get even bigger because now he's gonna say like, oh, I can beat all the UFC guys, but he's literally fighting a wrestler or boxing a wrestler.
Well,
Boxing
if I'm Ben, I take a point deduction by kicking his front leg fucked. I'll take the 1 point. I'll take the 1 point deduction. First thing, bam.
You know what you do? You put on the same card, you put that 4-way fight that we spoke about earlier,
Yes.
and then for the opener of that, and Amanda Nunes doesn't deserve an opener, but you put her against both the Paul brothers, and you just
She'll kill them. She'll kill them.
You give her 1 round against the one, second round against the other, third round will
They
just
can
be
tag
a
you. No,
Yeah,
they
they
can
can
tag each other.
She'll kill them at the same time. She'll absolutely kill them.
and then the third round she can fight Cejudo. And then
I want that fight to happen.
yeah, three birds with one stone. We
Three
good.
birds, one.
I want Nunes and Cejudo to have a fight. I'm in. Sign me
I'm
up.
seeing a lot of Sterling and Henry chat at the moment. I know it's a bunch of up in the air bullshit, and obviously a Jan fight is his first point of call. But I mean, well, we've seen stranger things.
So
Yeah, I think firstly, I definitely think they're doing a rematch first because
They have to.
Jan does deserve that. We'll get into that incident after this, but yeah, Jan beat Cejudo and Sterling beat Cejudo. In my opinion, I think Cejudo was
Yeah.
clever. He went in and out. He kind of picked who he wanted to fight. He did what he had to do. Fair enough to him, but I think he ran away before shit got real.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
think
look at the boys.
the division's that stacked as well. If you think about it, guys, like that division's not like super stacked. I mean, you've got an aging fucking Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
It's gone down, and he's not the fighter that we know him to be. Him to be.
He needs to actually retire as well. With all due respect.
And you look at other
It's
guys.
time.
You look at some of the other guys. You're like, like Benavidez. He's a great stalwart, but he's not double. He's lost 2 in a row now. So that's another one out the window. That whole division is just Cejudo. I promise you, Cejudo walks back into that division and probably wins it if he had to come back in.
Yeah.
Jan is a machine, and I back him. Like
I don't see him beating Jan, to be honest.
But one guy I am looking forward to, and I really hope that with his head right and him being a lot fitter and him having a good thing, is Cody Garbrandt is back. And
No love. I'm a big fan.
And Sugar Sean's fighting soon.
Oh, that's leading to a fight, isn't it? That's going to lead them to fight each other, surely.
I like Sugar Sean.
I love Sugar Sean. He's a lad, that guy.
I think after the last interview with Rogan, like Cody's really I think he's grown up a little bit.
Yeah. Yes.
I think he's admitted to a lot of mistakes in his life. He's admitted to a lot of things, and he's taken ownership. Like he's not making excuses, which is good to see in a fighter, and even in any sportsman,
Yeah,
and
he's growing up big time.
He's turned a leaf over. Like I think with his little one now, like there's a different side of him, and hopefully he can get a bit focused, and he can be a top fighter. TJ Dillashaw's coming back as well, steroid boys. So,
snake.
So now there's a little bit of competition again in that division.
Yeah. So let's just quickly backtrack again back to the fight of this weekend. Your thoughts individually on the Jan and Sterling incident? Obviously, for those who didn't watch or whatever, it was an illegal knee. Sterling won because he got given an illegal knee while he was on the ground. Craig, what do you guys think about that?
I've had my say already on this. I think it was possibly the stupidest move someone could have ever made. They know the rules. He knows the rules. As a champion, you can't say any different, especially at that level. That you can't tell me any different. And obviously miscommunication straight from the side of the cage. But again, he should never have done that. There was opportunities for him to be moving around, getting into a position where he could have taken his back, or he could have gone in for some shots onto the ribs or something like that. But again, it was just stupid. It was stupid.
Keegs, your thought?
I said pretty much what I did on Saturday. I mean, he was cruising to a victory there and then did something completely stupid, and I don't think you can blame anyone else. And
no.
I know people are saying but Sterling was acting and all of this and that, but at the end of the day, it's an illegal knee. Dan Hardy had the same thing.
Yep.
A lot of UFC fight, the same thing. A fighter does not need to show that he's all hardcore and take a illegal knee to the head and carry on fighting.
Yeah.
So those are the rules. Those are the rules, and it's set out pretty clear. And I don't think Jan can complain about breaking the rules, but I do think he can have a few words about how Sterling was reacting afterwards, and that's fine. But I don't think you can complain about the stoppage at all.
They should run it back immediately as soon as they're both ready.
So in my opinion, and I've been keeping Gillian's comment here for this. Sterling does need an Oscar. So the way I see it is, obviously I'm not going to dispute that the strike was illegal and it was intentional, that it was no accident or anything. But as far as my knowledge goes, an illegal knee is not a automatic disqualification, right? So it's the same as an eye poke or a low kick or a low.
No, it is. In the UFC, if the ref says he's down, his knees are down, it's a straight disqualification.
No, but it can't be. It can't, because they waited for the doctor to stop the fight or to
check his eyes as well. They waited for the concussion.
Because he wasn't knocked out for it.
Yeah.
But if it was immediate disqualification, they would have stopped the fight right away, regardless of whether he had picked up damage or anything.
As far as I know, the ref doesn't even have to call anyone in. He can stop it straight away on his discretion. That's as far as the last time I read it.
Yeah, but he can stop it. That's not the same as immediate disqualification. If he decides to, that means that it's his discretion. Whereas if it's an immediate thing, then regardless of anything, they have to stop it. But anyway, so we can go look this up and confirm it after the fact. But I just felt, firstly, I thought it was bad acting from Sterling's side. He didn't sell it. At one stage, he was, for 5 seconds, he looked 100% fine, and then he sort of dazes off again, which I get could, that also could happen. But firstly, he goes straight after the fight, goes and takes the interviews, right?
Yes. Should have gone straight to hospital.
You hardly ever see if someone's concussed, right? Secondly, just a couple of minutes after the interview, he's all over Twitter, right? Which you don't do if you're concussed. Thirdly, I can't remember who, one of the MMA journalists, I think tweeted it, said that when they took him for the proper concussion tests and that, he doesn't have a concussion. So I'm going, hey, buddy, fair enough, it is an illegal strike, but
they should run it back next month then, basically, if he's not concussed.
Yeah, run it back fucking this weekend. they can take Don Madge's spot.
So has he medically been cleared as not concussed?
That's what I read. Whether or not they'll give him a suspension, I don't know. But I heard that he was declared as not being concussed.
Yeah, then they need to run that back ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP.
So, look, regardless, I think they will definitely run it back because they have to, because Jan was obviously winning that fight.
Yeah, he was slicing him up, man.
But, Then, while I mentioned Don Madge now, I'm assuming you both know that his fight for this weekend got cancelled because of visa issues.
I've got a couple of questions on that, but I guess it's just better left unsaid right now. I just hope that if it is what it is, then let's hope Rickers has no problem. Again, being us being on the red list for every single country in the world, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I just hope it's not a case that it was left to the last minute, or I just weren't doing their job properly on getting the visa sorted out in time or having the right shit done. But yeah, let down. Even I was hoping to see it.
I think tell you guys one thing: it's not easy getting a fucking visa during this time of the year. I can tell you that one thing.
You know better than anyone, eh?
Yeah, mate. It's. I think we need to give Don like a huge benefit of the doubt here, and I think we're not saying or whatever, but I think it's not the easiest thing in the world right now, and I mean, I'm supposed to be leaving on the 22nd, and I actually don't know if I am leaving on the 22nd anymore. Change every day at this point in time. Today I'm allowed in, I'm not. It's crazy at this point in time, and it's a lot to do with got to actually the airlines itself and the companies itself, because
why was he not there earlier? Sorry to interrupt, but why was he not there earlier? Why wouldn't he be training here this whole time?
That's what I'm saying, Craig, is according to the video, he was supposed to fly, I think, yesterday. Right?
Yeah, that leaves him 7 days to quarantine.
Which is a couple of days out from the fight, which is Sunday. Right? So I'm going...
Where's this fight night? Sorry?
I think Vegas.
It's in Vegas, yeah. So I'm going... Okay, surely one would expect that there to be some sort of quarantine period, right?
2 weeks at least.
Yeah. And if you're doing it well in advance and you're going like, listen, guys, I'm a pro athlete, etc., I'll quarantine South Africa 2 weeks. I'll quarantine Vegas 2 weeks. I'll give you all the tests I need to give you. I just can't see them turning it down. I just can't see it. And we'll see it now.
I'm praying now.
This is Africa. They will tell you today you can come and get your visa.
It was the US consulate that was the issue, according to...
Okay.
You must understand one thing. Guys, you must understand one thing. There are still South Africans that work in these consulates here in South Africa. It's not just...
They don't make the rules, though.
Exactly. They don't make the rules. They have to follow what the rules are saying. And a lot of times, like I'm sitting in the situation now, I'm supposed to fly on the 22nd. KLM is turning people away that are legally to the Netherlands right now. Okay? They're legally allowed to be there. They've been turned away at our airports because it's people that don't know the rules properly. And it's not Dutch people that are sitting behind the counter here for KLM working for them. So it's a massive communicational fuck up that's happening too. And that's why I say this could very well be a big disaster because of communication in the end of the day. Also, one thing, flights, Emirates not flying out of South Africa, no Emirates flight at this point in time.
Yeah, but Don had a flight. So my biggest concern is his flight was booked for like yesterday or 2 days ago or something.
Yeah.
That raises a red flag for me. That regardless of any other fuck-ups, you're giving yourself less than a week, firstly for quarantine, and secondly...
With jet lag as well. Serious jet lag.
You can't even, go to the Performance Institute to train properly. You got to do it in your old hotel room. All of that. I don't know. I think we'll see with
millions.
If Drickus... Sorry?
I said these guys aren't making millions like they can go there a month before the time. I think we've got to look at fine.
Remember the UFC takes care of that stuff, especially now. But I think we'll see with Drickus now. He's due to fight next week. Is it next weekend? The 20th?
End of the month. 23rd.
23rd.
Is it the 23rd?
Jade, I agree with that comment.
Crazy again, into trouble yet again.
I'm just. I honestly.
So I think.
Look, I wanted to see this fight. I wanted to see this fight more than anyone, to be honest with you. I really like the guy who was fighting.
We need to see him fight. He did fairly well. I mean, his first fight was obviously incredible. Second fight, his opponent never came for the fight. And I think it's probably make or break for Don. Like, probably needs to at least do well in his next fight, even if he doesn't, hopefully he wins. If he doesn't win and he does gives a good performance, probably gets an extension. But he's been out for fucking I don't know, like 2 years probably.
It's a long time now. I think also, the guy he was coming up against as the replacement for his original opponent was also looking like it would have been a stylistically like good fight for those two. They would have stood, they would have traded, they would have made each other bleed, and we would have had a good time watching it. So yeah, I mean, end of the day, it's a shit thing to happen. Me and my current thoughts, but at the same time, it still would have been a good fight.
I don't know if I was sleeping on this or if everyone was sleeping on it, but I see JP Base is on the same card as Trickers.
Yeah, JP's there. He's staying there. He's in the US now full time, isn't he?
Yeah, because his wife is American. But
I thought he went straight to boxing. I thought he's just moved to boxing full time.
No, remember he came into the UFC through that Contender Series.
Yes, and he did well.
Sorry, I'm thinking of someone else.
You think of Boyd?
Boyd. I'm thinking about Boyd.
Boyd's gone full-time boxing.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing. I'm very excited for JP Base in the UFC. I just saw today's fighting some Silva guy. I didn't look at the guy, so I've got no idea who he is. But I'm very excited for him to be in the UFC and Drickus as well. I think Drickus
future champion. Future champion.
Yeah.
He's looking big, eh?
I've seen some of his training videos and that. Follow the Bounce. Ben Kopinski's been training with him.
Ben's been on,
And yeah, very excited. This must be the first time ever there's two South Africans on a card on the same night.
Yeah. I think so.
It's going to be good fun. I think the next one we're going to look at, I think the next one we're going to keep an eye out. I like to think he's South African, even though he probably would absolutely crush me in two. Champion. I like to think champion South African because we've watched him grow through the UFC here in South Africa, and we've watched probably every single fight of his in Cape Town. So we're a massive fan of good old champions.
Yeah.
Also, the better he does, the better Don, JP, and Drickus can do, the closer we're going to get to an African UFC night, because we've got Usman and Adesanya, who's both publicly been pushing for that.
That would be something. That would be a spectacle, eh?
Yeah. So
and Francis is also pushing for it. Francis is
pushing for it as well.
Yes. So apparently, I've heard that Dana White's he is keen for it, and if it happens, it would most likely, logically speaking, be either here or Nigeria. And
which makes sense.
Makes sense.
I will book my ticket tomorrow.
I'll fly to Nigeria for that fight.
That's all I'm saying.
We could put a good card on as well. We could put a very good card on.
100%. Yeah.
Jeez.
Then another interesting thing I thought I'd drop in, seeing that Keegan mentioned the EFC, is I don't know, you guys probably saw a while ago that there was rumors about them going into bankruptcy. But the night before, I had a chat with someone that I know who's a photographer at the EFC events. I won't mention his name, but apparently he says they're speaking about coming back in June.
Yeah, I think I may have seen a social media post by them that actually said 1st of June. Save the date, I think. Let me go have a look. I can't go back onto Facebook.
Aren't you using your Craig David one?
I forgot to mention that in the intro is old Craig got himself banned again on Facebook.
Another one. 3rd time this year. Fourth time in 8 months.
That's not bad.
You get 7-day bans. I do something on Facebook, I get 30 days straight out. I just get a straight 30-day one.
I mean, I won't lie. I do write to Mark every time with a nice long sorry letter, talking to him about his AI bots and explaining how they've misinterpreted my tone and my non-aggression and sarcasm. I know your AI bots. Yeah, no. So he reduces my sentence every time, and this time he didn't. So I'm in for. It was 24 hours, not 7 days, and there's no reduction.
But you
But,
guys should be like me. I know who to call cunts on Facebook and who not.
Well, I've just got to stop Facebook in general now. Just completely. It's getting bad.
Yeah. I must, yeah, Facebook is too much. But the problem is I need to be on it for work. So it's
That's
always
true.
a difficult catch-22. Got to know what's going on. Moving a little bit away from the UFC quickly, because it's been so long that we've had Craig on. I don't think I think the last time we chatted on here was when Lampard was still manager. What's your thoughts on the new, shall I say, the new Chelsea under Tuchel?
Well, I mean, we're sitting in fourth place. We've actually held fourth place fairly well. And there were a lot of talks of us not being in fourth place or making the top four if Frank had stayed around. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm still heartbroken. But we know how Roman works. It's chop and change if you're not doing the right thing. At the end of the day, Tuchel's doing a good job. Like I said, if we end up in top four, which I'm pretty sure he will now, so it's a good finish and a good start for him. It's a good finish for us to the season, and it's a great start for him as a coach. And then we see what he can do in the Champions League. But like I said, it's just still a bit of heartbreak on old Frankie going.
Yeah, look, I don't think we'll ever get over Frankie.
No.
I think hopefully he goes on to coach elsewhere and sort of sharpens his tools a little bit, and who knows, maybe he comes back. We've seen Chelsea reappoint managers, but yeah, I agree with you. Tuchel's been obviously he's been great. We have to finish top four from here. He's not had an easy run, especially the last 5 games or so, which makes one think, like, give him a full season next year. He's
couple new players,
beaten or drawn against not necessarily title contenders per se, but big teams like United. We drew against, obviously beat Liverpool. So yeah, very excited about that. Keegs, big win for you guys this weekend.
Very big. Jesus.
Incredible. You can ask Bucky's. I've been saying we're going to beat City. I said, watch us.
I'll vouch for that. I'll vouch for that. You did say that.
I said, watch us go and beat City. Oh, yeah, I actually think I put it in our group. I said, watch us go and beat City. Like, it's a game that no one expects us to win. I did give them a goal, though, but I called the Bruno penalty as well, so come on.
Yeah, but that's the easiest bet in world football, Keegan.
But you can't fault United's run either this season. They've just gotten better and better and better.
I think our problem is inconsistency, Craig. Like that's what cost us. Like we still struggle against the lesser teams, like the teams that sit back. We haven't figured out how to break them down. And I think United won't win a title until they figure out a way to be more than just a counter-attacking side.
But what about someone like old Solskjaer, who's had that kind of, he's had the pressure from the beginning of the season where people have complained and wanted him out and whatever. And I think he's gotten better and sort of with the players he's gotten them together as well. And I think that's also something that's been a benefit to the United team this season.
I think there's a lot of frustration. Like us as United fans have got certain frustrations with Solskjaer, which he needs to improve on. Like his subs are way too late, and they're sometimes completely meaningless. He sets up too defensively against certain sides when they're probably there for the taking. These are little things that, you get that right, that turns you into a championship side. But because he's always under pressure for his job, and people still see him as an interim manager, he doesn't want to go for it. Like he's too scared to sort of like really, throw all the cards at it and really go at it, because he knows if he loses the game, the backlash tomorrow morning, and then he's fighting for his job, and all those type of things. And I think that if he's really going to be a United manager for the next, say, 10 years or so, he's going to have to grow a pair in certain aspects.
Yeah.
And he's going to really, really go for it. And you know what? It's only his what's it? Second season, really? And the thing, so like...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's kind of coming into his own now from my view.
Yeah, he might learn, he might grow a pair and actually like go for games, or he might be this way the whole time. And if he is, it's going to cost him his job. So it's really up to him now. He needs to decide.
The big problem, Keith, the big problem for me is I agree what you're saying, and we touched on this previously as well, where this year he has played it very safe, but he's been lucky that it worked out for him because other teams have been fucking up, except for City. Whereas in any other season, that's going to cost him badly. And it's like you said, it's going to cost him his job. And he needs to, next year, he needs to go, look, I've been here 3 years.
Yeah.
I need to go. I need to start going for things. Like,
I think this year we've got to look at all our managers, though. I think one thing, we've got to look at all our managers. And, okay, it's tough for you guys because you guys have just got a new manager now. But if you look at managers in total, you've got to look at this has been a very different season where there was no preseason. There's this. So I don't know, maybe the whole playing it safe was because of the season that we're currently having, knowing that there were going to be these hurdles. I don't know. Maybe it's just him being that way. But if we're going to have a proper season next year with proper preseasons and proper this and proper that, I want to see us going for games more. I want us, really throwing the hammer and putting the down.
Try and win the league, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see it.
You guys need that desperately. Right. You need that league win desperately.
We made 2 appointments today. We actually finally have a director of football. United has joined the 21st century.
Yes, I saw that. Just explain that. What exactly happened there? So you got the director of football, Darren Fletcher, right?
No. So we had 2 appointments named today. We've had a director of football, an internal. It was an internal appointment, a director of football. So he's been apparently he's been working with the club or with Ole on a pro rata or whatever base. He's been in the club, but he hasn't really officially had a title. He's been helping out Ole and the scouting team and on the finance side of that. So this guy, John, I can't remember, Murdoch or whatever that. He's
Murdoch or something like that.
He's been appointed now head of director of football at the club. And so he will be running everything football-wise at the club, apparently. This is apparently. And
or he's just going to be a face for the Glazers.
Exactly. And Darren Fletcher has been made technical director. So, that's what I say. Like, we don't know how much... It's an internal appointment, so it's not going to Ed likes.
Jobs for the boys.
Jobs for the boys. Yeah, let's keep the boys happy. Keep them all in the same room.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we don't know. What I do say, it is a step in the right direction for the club because we've like the only club in world football, in modern day football, without a fucking director of football.
I must be honest. I never realized that you guys don't have a director of football.
No, so my thing is this, that I do agree with everyone. You've got to, it's probably an Ed's buddy, but at the end of the day, someone's going to be responsible for the football on the field. And thank God it's not Woodward. Little as like I know people are going to say, yeah, but it's his mate. It'll be like, but it's not fucking Ed.
Yes, exactly. That is true.
So it's not fucking Ed, so I'm happy. Like, it's a step in the right direction. Whether he's the right man, who knows? But it's a step in the right direction.
I just want to kind of go back to Jade's previous question, where it was, he's got 12 months left on his contract. goes back to exactly what you're saying now. Is that extension justified? If he has another great season, does he stay on? If he doesn't, is he going? What's going to happen with this new team that you've just mentioned with the new
What does Ole need to do next season
title? Has to get a title.
Get an extension.
So what I say is this: is if this season, if he gets a trophy, a cup, and ends top 4, I think he gets his extension this season already.
Yeah. Well, if they get top 4 and a cup, then they've definitely done well. They've definitely done well.
He gets his contract this year, the end of this season.
Yes.
Contract extension. If he doesn't and just ends top 4, he has to be a title contender. I'm not saying winning it. He's got to contend for the title, and he's got to win cups. He's got to bring something next season. If that doesn't happen, then I think he's gone.
Well, that's the another tricky thing with this season is, even if you guys end up second, and I mean, even if we end up second, because we could still end up second.
Come on,
we'd have to win everything. We have to win every single game.
You literally said to me, "You're taking second last week or whatever," and I said, "So you're not going to take second?"
No, we are going to take second.
I'm with you. We're taking second. We're going to win every single game.
What I'm getting to is whoever gets second, you can't. It's not even a title contender, even though you finish second. Just because.
Well, just throw this out there. We are only 9 points behind City. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I'm not saying we win it. I'm saying 9 points. It's not 20.
You sound like Bryce West now. I don't think he's tuned in anymore. But so he's my old flatmate. He's a United fan, and United would be like in 8th position or something stupid. But mathematically,
we're gonna win.
So he'll come to me with like a little piece of paper, and he'd be like, "Dude, mathematically, we can still win the league." But then it's basically like everyone else needs to lose every single game of their last 10, and United need to win their 10 games. Then I'm like, "Hey, buddy, mathematically, you could still win the league."
Can I pose a question though? Can I pose a question? We've seen, first of all, 6 losses on the trot for Liverpool right now, and they're calling for Klopp's head, and we've got calls for Gerrard, who's shut everyone down, saying we love Klopp, he's staying. That's some fucking real shit from a club, like you're going to keep, whether Liverpool keep him or not, but the fact that they've got some big high-profile people saying we back him all the way through and through. This is a little dip. This is not a problem. We'll get back onto form again. Like, where to from Liverpool at the moment? They're not looking good at all. Do you think there's going to be a bit of shit with Klopp in the next coming weeks, prior to the end of the season?
In my opinion, I think a lot of that has to do with all the hard work from the previous 3 seasons. Not a huge amount of movement in terms of players coming in and whatever. I think the guys are tired. Obviously, it has, especially this season, like Keegan said earlier, we didn't even have a preseason. They had almost no rest. I think, as much as I would love to see Klopp go, just because I think it would be a bad move for Liverpool. I don't think, at least this season, I don't see them letting him go. Let the season pan out. It's now become almost obvious that they're not going to have a good season, because I think they're 8th at the moment. Let the season pan out for him and for the team. See what you can do in the new year, whether it's buying players, getting injured players back, have a proper rest, have a proper preseason, and I think they'll be back up there.
I agree. Yeah.
I definitely, like I said, I would want them to fire Klopp, but I don't think they should. If I was on the board of Liverpool, I would vote against it.
Yeah,
I think it's all got to do with next season, the start of next season. How do Liverpool start next season? So, if you look at, I think he's said this season nothing will happen to him this season.
I agree with Jade in that. I mean, He
I agree with
them a
that as well.
bought them a Premier League. You have to keep him.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I say that I think it's going to come down to how they start next season. So, say if the first 10 games of next season looks mediocre, I think he's in trouble then. Then I think...
Yeah, there you go. Then tell him to take a hike.
But I think that until now, until the first 10 games of next season, he's absolutely safe. There is no chance that he's going anywhere. No chance.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, not a lot of Liverpool fans that I follow has been calling for his head, but I have seen a couple, and that almost pisses me off because you're looking at what he's done at the club, and then those same people would go on about Chelsea hiring and firing like crazy. And I'm like, dude, this guy's done everything for you. Things that you haven't achieved in 30 fucking years. Give him some time. It's obvious.
Us Chelsea fans would die for a manager to stay longer than 2 bloody seasons.
Yeah. Even if he's doing
Yeah. I agree with all Julian's comment there as well. Liverpool are missing Van Dijk big time. Big time.
Yeah. But I must also say, like, one thing that is true. Obviously, a player like that's going to be missed, but also their attack has been blunt as hell.
Oof. Salah's been horrendous.
So it's not just you can't blame everything on Van Dijk or the other defensive players that have also been in and out of the team due to injuries. There's definitely something else going on bigger than that. But I do think fatigue has a lot to do with it.
Listen, I'm very worried. I am very, very worried if the loss of Virgil van Dijk has caught this for Liverpool. I would be fucking terrified if I was a Liverpool fan or if I was Jurgen Klopp, if that was the case.
Yeah.
Because no player has that much of an influence. Like, I've seen Barcelona, unless you fucking Messi, is the only team. Barcelona are shit without Messi. Okay?
That's a predicament for another day as well, eh?
Exactly. So that's the only player in the world at this point in time that I believe a team can play with, like, struggle to play without him. But other than that, Virgil van Dijk is not the messiah of football like he is. And
firstly,
if he's the main losing, then fuck, you got to worry. You have to worry as a fan.
100%. Yeah, he's not. Obviously, he's a good player. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's one of the best. He's one of the best currently. But the way they go on about him being the greatest defender, or at least Premier League defender ever, blah blah blah.
Does he know John Terry?
Exactly.
So, have you heard of Paolo Maldini?
Paolo Maldini.
I can name five Premier League defenders better than him. Not currently playing, but ever. But also, like I said, Keegan, I think you were out of shot when I said that is their defense hasn't necessarily been their problem. They haven't been scoring goals. So then you're going, that can't be Virgil van Dijk because he's got. I mean, sure, he scores a goal every once in a while, but that's obviously not his job. He doesn't create necessarily goals either. So there's something else going on there.
No, for sure. And I agree. I think, I do agree. I do agree with what Jade's saying there. Like, they've brought clever players in that are good footballers. Don't get me wrong. Thiago's a fantastic footballer, but he's not a footballer to suit that Liverpool system. I think there's been a few. Keita is another one that they brought in. Fantastic footballer, but he's hardly played for Liverpool. And when he has played, he's been pretty fucking bang average and all.
Bang average.
And these are good footballers that just don't suit that system. And I think they've gotten a few things wrong. 100%. He does need a
Salah, do your job, mate.
He's had a probably his worst season for Liverpool.
He's going back to prime Chelsea days.
The thing is, though, got to do with the fact that I think there were a few, there were a few good signings that we all thought were brilliant signings from Liverpool. But I don't think they actually looked at their system and the way they played and be like, does this player really suit the mold of this?
Yeah.
Players with less ability that suit the Liverpool system a lot better. And
It's a very similar situation to Chelsea signings as well, where we just went and bought a whole bunch of wingers and attacking players, and you're going, firstly, who's playing and who's not, and secondly, that we don't even play the system for these players. And we've somehow been able to an extent, at least pull it off. Obviously now we're doing better, but even those players aren't performing the way they should. And I think that's what I agree with Keegan. That's where they've been struggling.
I think for them is I think players are going to be moving out of that side. I think Klopp will allow a few players to go.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see if Klopp changes the way that team plays, the dynamics of their team will be interesting, or they're going to play the same way. Because if there's one thing I do enjoy about watching sort of managers, and especially from Ferguson's era and stuff, like managers back then was their whole playing style changed season to season. And I'm thinking about the manager now. It doesn't change. It's just like it's basically, let's just get this, let's play the same way. Let's get a bunch of players. He's fucking good. Put him in the system, and he has to play the system. Whether he fits the system or not, he's playing in the system.
And that's the problem. That's what breaks a couple of players quite quickly as well. They don't fit in there, fuck off as soon as they've landed. And that's also can be a bit of a... The Premier League is a different league.
Especially for, like, I've always said Mourinho's got that issue where he's got his way of playing, and if he doesn't have the player, and Louis van Gaal, in my opinion, did that as well, where he's got his philosophy and playing style, and if the players can't play that way, then, or if he doesn't have the players to suit that way of playing, then he just goes, oh, well, fuck it, then we'll just lose games until I get fired. Instead of, okay, what do I have available to me? Let me make that work in a different system until maybe one day, a season or two down the line, you can bring players in that plays your system. Then fair enough, play your system. But it's almost like managers are almost like too lazy they just go, no, this is my philosophy, and if you can't play it,
fit it or fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
People will give Pep a lot of shit about this, but I must give Pep a lot of credit for this. Even though City play the same style of football, they change their systems a shit ton season to season. And especially watch City at the start of the season and watch City at halfway through the season. Their system has evolved and changed completely. And I don't think like a guy like Pep gets enough credit for that. Yes, he's got the riches, he's got two squads to choose from, but the manager still needs to put that in place. And I don't think Pep gets enough credit for that. I mean, I do feel that he does try and change it up a little bit. He'll play back 4, back 3 at times. He'll play midfield 5, midfield 4, midfield 3. He changes it up quite a lot. And a lot of other managers these days won't have the balls to do that.
Yeah,
it's true.
Pep got a raw deal with fans, or with football fans, by simply walking into Barcelona. But what people don't, and we in a sense saw that with Lampard, is Lampard, okay, he had obviously one job with Swansea, where he didn't do too badly, but he pretty much walked into a top 4 Premier League side, and he wasn't able to do it. He had money.
Pep was the under-23s coach, like the fucking B-side coach that walked into.
But the football fans don't see that. They just see
Yeah.
Pep walking into Barcelona, big stars, winning, amazing, going to Bayern Munich, big
And then just
stars,
chirp,
money,
chirp,
winning.
chirp.
Yeah. So he really deserves more credit than what he gets. And then Jillian here, I feel personally attacked by
Oh,
didn't
the
even say anything
Tories.
about Werner, but I
German
still feel
Tories.
attacked. So Werner had a bad game on Monday. I'll give him that. But our other German made up for it. And isn't that what friends are for? Werner's actually been, in my opinion, and I don't know, Craig can share his thoughts as well. He's been very good under Tuchel. Hasn't always gotten the goals, but he's gotten the assists. He's gotten that Liverpool game. He was brilliant.
That's it. Yeah.
He's gotten the
That's
penalty. He's doing the good work. He's definitely gonna come right. He's already come right, in my opinion. I don't feel that he's been a waste thus far. He started off slow, obviously, but
I think that's where my eyes. I think Tuchel has come in to his own because he's a world-class manager and he's working with a bunch of guys that are talented as well. So it's not like he's going to come in there and change things up. He's got that German mentality to just.
That's
I love that shirt. I love that shirt.
The problem is, Jade, they all play rugby.
I love that shirt, Jade. That's
Jeez,
quality.
Jade, take it easy.
And guess what, Jade? They all play for Grade
We
1.
haven't even been rude. We haven't even been rude to United once tonight, and this is what we're going to put up with.
It's the first time I've been very nice. I've actually been complimentary of United for the first time in my life, and now we're getting abuse from the sidelines. What is this? That was a
But
burn in my heart.
I think the one thing about Tuchel is he'll bring certain, he is an astute manager in a way.
Yeah.
His problem is this, that he does get too one-dimensional at one stage, and I think that's the one thing. That's the one thing that has caught him in his previous jobs. At Dortmund, he got caught out that way. At PSG, got caught out that way. He plays a system, and once people have figured out that system, it almost like he has to move on to the next job. And I'm just interested to see what he does. Like, I think he'll do well at Chelsea. Like, he'll be a top 4. Like, Chelsea will be back a top 4 side. But once teams start figuring Chelsea out or the Tuchel way, what is he going to bring to the party? Is he going to bring anything new? Because he hasn't brought anything new in his other big jobs. So I'm interested to see how Tuchel moves from there.
But what's interesting about that, Keegan, is it feels to me like all the managers that's been able to successfully and even non-successfully play the back 3/back 5 the way he does and the way Conte did and the way Van Gaal tried to do, it seems like that system gets figured out very quickly. You've got a season with it. Like, I mean, that season with Conte when we won the league, we were
Unbelievable.
We were world class. Next year, nothing changed.
And average.
We were just
chalk and cheese, eh?
It was incredible, and I think that system is maybe just one of those things where obviously everyone plays it slightly differently, but once you get enough look at it, you can figure it out.
Am I back?
I do. I totally agree. Yeah, you're back here.
Yeah.
I do
cool.
with Jade, and I brought it up on you how many times, Ryan, and you can vouch for this, is you guys have got such an abundance of attacking players, but it's not just about it's not about using all of them. It's just about your system that you play. Just you can't fit them in. Like, you're playing strikers as left wings and right wings when you have right and left wingers in the squad. Why did you buy the guy? Like, you should be playing every week on the left, and then Timo.
That's that's what I was getting to earlier when we spoke about Liverpool and Chelsea just getting players that don't necessarily suit the team, and that's exactly what we did. We went last season. We saw, okay, we're struggling to score goals, and then in the transfer market we go, okay, let's just buy all the attacking talent in Europe, and
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And in my opinion, and okay, this has changed now under Tuchel because he plays a different system, but we should have played with Lampard. We should have played with two attackers. It should have always been either Giroud or Tammy Abraham up front, next to Timo Werner. So then I'm always looking back at those Drogba and Nalka days, where you got a big fuck off player and a slightly smaller, more technical guy, so that one can hold the ball up, just tap it down to the guy next to him, and he'll make sure you can finish it. But I mean, at the moment, it's a huge problem, and we've seen it now with even with Tuchel. Is Ziyech has been pretty much nowhere. Kai Havertz hasn't. His features here and there. He played extremely well in my opinion in the week. Hudson Odoi, who's world class in my opinion, also struggling, doesn't always start. It's we do have too many attacking players. Giroud won't be there for that long. But even just if you take our strikers away, just our attacking midfielders, we've got too many.
No, 100%. 100%.
And sorry, let me add to that. The other problem is we also, a lot of the players are obviously big name players, young players, but big name players worth a lot of money. Some of them we bought in, some of them are academy players, but these are all players that's not going to be happy with sitting plank.
Of course not.
Most of
There's
them
also players that are World Cup players and they're international players and they need to.
100%.
So the bench is not going to keep those guys motivated and happy either.
Yeah. So and it's also difficult because one generally finds if you're in a team that's winning the league, players would be happy to sit blank. But at the moment, obviously, we're not winning the league.
Yeah.
Next year, we'll have to see what happens.
We'll definitely win it next year. Don't worry. That was next year.
I wasn't going to say that, but that's what I thought in my heart.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell.
Before we go, last thing before we go, I was meant to do this sooner, but I completely forgot. We've got a little competition running that we just launched for a pair of football boots. So these are the Puma. Wait, let me remove Jade's comment here.
Yeah. How do I win these boots, guys? Just tell me now, so I can win it, and no one else can stand a chance. Because I want them.
Well, that would probably be considered nepotism, but I'm not saying it's out of the question. I'm not saying it's out of the question. Craig can win it, but Craig can't win it.
Yeah. I'll use my alter ego, definitely.
But yeah, guys and girls, enter the competition. If you go to our website, thepundits.co.za, you'll see it's the first post. All the instructions are there. Fucking nice boots. They're worth I think
very nice.
3,500 Rand. They're in stores now. So subscribe and share and do everything you need to do to win those. And how do I get this up there? There we go.
We also got a new look, and it's going to come in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. New look to the site, new look to everything.
Awesome, dudes. Congrats.
So you guys will soon you'll be able to go on the website directly and watch the podcasts and stuff. And also see some obviously other giveaways and articles and whatever. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Hopefully some new videos as well. As soon as I'm out of quarantine on the other side and I can watch some, I'll be sending some football content over. I'll send
Fantastic.
some hockey for everyone. So,
Well, Jared, if you need a new pair of boots, you know where to go. We can't guarantee that you'll win them, but
Use your alter ego. Use your
give
alter
it a
ego.
bash. Yeah, create fake accounts. Also, one thing I need to add though is if you guys are, I know obviously the guys commenting in that are not like that, but if you're one of those serial competition entering people that just enter every single competition regardless of what the fuck you're winning,
We see you.
Papa cake for you. All right. If you're not clearly a football fan or football, you don't need to be a player or anything. But if we can see you don't care about football and you're just entering all these comps, you're not winning. Okay.
Don't get your auntie and your uncle to come and enter for you. If they don't,
you're not winning. We actually made a call a while back to check the stuff because we have had some strange people winning like rugby boots and all the shit.
We've seen some crazy things in our time, guys. We've seen some crazy shit. But as always, thank you for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure to come talk to you.
For joining us, mate.
Yeah, maybe another catch up. Bring Grimehouse in before the Nagano and Stipe rematch.
That will definitely be happening.
Awesome. Thank you again, boys. Always a pleasure.
Guys, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Cheers, everybody. For tuning in.
Cheers, dudes.
All right.